Kayla, I actually took out a lot of funky Hebrew words to make that easier on you, but thanks for your first time being a liturgist filling in for Jane, who's got the COVID. Thanks for the choir for coming in the summertime. Online, I hope you could hear that well to set the little speakers, little microphones. If you're thinking it's either louder or something is different in here, all those things on the wall up there are new. Those are new speakers given as a gift to help improve the sanctuary sound. Some of you hear just fine. You're young and you haven't been to the same concerts I have. Good for you. Others of you struggle, and this is our attempt. We're still figuring it out. When you have a new toy, it takes some playing, but I'm really thankful. Justin was here a lot this week to set that up. The AV crew is pressing all the buttons to make it work, so good on all that. Hey, this story, totally obscure. There's a chance none of you have ever heard the story of Gideon. You may never even know the name Gideon except for those silly Bibles. And if you're young enough, Gideon's Bibles are in the same category as like payphones and buying a home in your 20s. They're just mythical creatures that don't even exist anymore. But if you don't know this story, at the very least, you know Gideon's question. In his words, if the Lord is with us, why has all this happened? In our words, if God is good, why is all this bad stuff happening? You said you were on my side, God, but it feels really lonely and empty in my heart, so what gives? You might not know anything about Gideon until today, but the idea of hiding from your pain, yeah, we've done that. And then where was he hiding? Did you catch that? A wine press. Yeah, he's hiding with wine from his fear. Some have been there, done that. A lot of us can say that, yes. He's afraid of his future. Anyone can say that? Destructive behavior when you're confused on what to do. Justifying your anger because those people deserve to have their idols ripped apart. That one's big on my list. In the middle part that Kayla read, and it makes perfect sense, but I tell you, the older you get when you watch young people like growing up and you see them make those mistakes, it's just like, oh, please, I believe in you, you can do it. And it just breaks your heart when you see that they have all the power in the world to grow and heal and live a full and meaningful life. And just always, all of us, at every point of our life, we have the power to do that. But instead, here is Gideon, caught up in anxiety, so alone that he makes these tests for God. It's weird, like if the fleece is wet with dew, but the ground, I don't understand what that is, but we've all done weird tests with God. God, if you love me, there's going to be a pigeon standing behind me on one foot. No, okay, God doesn't love me, okay. God, if some of us have tried to avoid the truth. If I'm on the right path, God, then there's going to be a cloud in front of the sun on a cloudless day. No clouds up there? No. Some of us sometimes, we just fool ourselves with these tests. You say oh, if she texts me tonight, I promise it's going to be a good relationship with no jealousy and no codependency, so God, do your magic, make her text. So is Gideon scared? Of course Gideon is scared. Life is terrifying, especially, the little parentheses in there, he had a whole bunch of older brothers. He's the youngest, and all of them died. Life is scary. And his behavior in that grief makes total sense. He's not making any errors. This is the way the human body is designed, is to freak out when we're in pain. Living is not easy. But in his story, you so want him to overcome. Like if it's a good story, he's going to overcome his struggles, right? If it's a powerful story, even if he doesn't come up with a perfect answer for why bad things happen, wouldn't it be so relatable if he went on after what Kayla read to a good life? Still wrestling with that question. Wouldn't it be so normal, though, if he was inspirational to you? That's what the Bible does. It takes these inspirational characters. So we'll find out. Gideon, so obscure. We're going to take a vote. Who thinks he grows up to be a hero with faith and faults and a calling that gives all of us hope? Or who thinks that Gideon just circles the drain as a cautionary tale for any of us to let our trauma overshadow our possibilities. Who thinks hero and hope? Okay. Who thinks he never matures past his struggles? Couple more. You see where this is going. It's not, yeah. Okay, here's the rest of the story, Paul Harvey style. And I wish Children's Church started today, because I'm really putting some euphemisms in here to try to clean this story up. But, you can do your explaining the best you can. So one, the last part that Kayla read, Gideon's army destroys their enemy in battle. Okay, that's fair. There's a lot of war in the Bible. But then they pursue the survivors to the border. A little revengey, but it's war. Then they enlist neighbors to hunt down the last few Midianites who had escaped to the hills, which gets a little creepy, but that's what it is. But they find the last captain. This is what she didn't read. Maybe she did. They find the last captain of the Midianite army. Guess where he's hiding? Wine press. It's like bookended it. What is Gideon going to do with that? Do you think he thinks back to his teenage years of like, oh, I was hiding in a wine press because of so much. Now this guy's hiding in a wine press because of the same anxiety and stress. This is his chance to reconsider his whole childhood full of loss and fear. This is the moment, and all of you adults know that these moments pop up once in a while without us expecting it. This is the moment. Do we grow with the power of mercy? Or do we sink back to the same patterns that have such a hold on us? So two, here's what he does. The captain doesn't get very far. Captain doesn't get very far at all. And Gideon is so energized by his victory and his vengeance. He gets so offended by these two border towns. These border towns, they do help him, just not right away. They're not sure whether they should trust this crazed lunatic. And so he gets so addicted to this feeling of hurting other people so that he doesn't have to deal with his own hurt, that he takes his own people and he starts abusing them. The emotions that he can't handle, they come to haunt the people who are closest to him. Not cool. Very human. Very normal. These people are just living their lives, trying not to pick sides. Ultimately, they help him, but he is so used to fighting inside and outside that he just fights with everyone in his path. Some of you know that story far too close. Gideon continues to, the euphemism is do away with some of the elders. He ends up killing these people who helped him just because he's angry. Next, he catches the guys who kills his brothers, and that's some Game of Thrones kind of stuff. I mean, he does them dirty. But finally, the dust settles. He's settled all of his scores. He's the judge in charge of everything. He has the chance for a peaceful society. He has a chance for a peaceful life. There's no one left to fight. The world is primed to just rest. It's what we all want. It's what all of us, we just want more calm. He has it. He has a chance to support people and be supported. Whether he ever had the words, this is the moment. He's wanted space to just be himself without pressure and without stress. So what does he do? Well, the story continues that he collects all the gold from the enemies that they stole, and that's not enough. So he gets all their jewelry, and that's not enough. So he takes all their coats, which is, I guess, valuable, and then he goes to the camels, and he takes the yokes off the camels so he can sell that, and he gets all this money to decorate his new capital. And that's not enough. He's still lonely, so he gets a whole bunch of women of the night to be dancing for him anytime he wants. Nothing says immature rich guy like opulence and exploitation. So, now to be fair, over the rest of his life, Gideon leads the country safely with no more war, no more enemies from the outside. However, on the inside, his inside and the country, the place just crumbles. Just things fall apart. Even to the point where the people are asking back to him, if the Lord is with us, then why is this happening? They even get to the place where they start to build altars again to the very same gods that teenage Gideon had ripped down in his rage and excitement. Everything comes full circle if you don't get out of the loop. In other words, even though God was right there, God sent an angel of healing to a hurting boy. God sent this boy a chance for a new life to lead to peace, and instead Gideon projected his demons onto everyone around him. Instead of allowing the power of grace in his heart, he amplified his trauma to a whole nation. Instead of doing any work to process his original, painful, very human, very normal question, he falls into these patterns of destruction and vengeance and greed and disillusionment. He dies no closer to peace than he ever was in his whole life. So, leaving Gideon, landing right here. What could be different? What can be different in your life if you were to hold on to this question